Ever get stuck talking to someone who just thinks they're better than everyone else?
Oh yeah, we've all been there. It's like their favorite hobby.
And it's funny. We asked you all how to deal with those people, and you delivered.
Big time. We're diving deep into a blog post by Amjad Izhar.
And get this, he doesn't just give you a couple of pointers. He lays out 25 ways to handle these characters. 25.
Talk about coming prepared. I mean, it goes to show you there's not just one right way to do this, which is kind of nice.
It's actually a relief. So, ready to outsmart some arrogance today?
Let's unlock these secrets.
Okay, first things first. Let's be honest, I think we've all met someone like this.
Oh, absolutely.
They just eat up all the air in the room, right? Whatever you say, they always have a better story, a smarter take. It's like they're always on superior mode.
Yeah, and that's what I like about this post. It gets why these people are so annoying, but then it goes deeper. Like, what's the root of all this arrogance?
And the answer is?
Often, it's insecurity.
Whoa, really? You'd think someone so big on themselves wouldn't be insecure.
Right. You'd think they had it all figured out, but it's like they're overcompensating, you know? And that actually gives you a little power because you realize, oh, it's not really about me.
Okay, I see that. But knowing that doesn't make them vanish. How do we actually deal with them in the moment?
Well, that's where Izhar's advice comes in. He starts with a classic. Confidence is your secret weapon.
Love that. It's like that saying, insecurities shout, confidence whispers.
Exactly. And the post actually uses that quote. Genuine confidence, it doesn't need the spotlight all the time.
It's like Dale Carnegie says in How to Win Friends and Influence People, when you're comfortable with yourself, people just respect that.
100%.
But okay, this next strategy threw me for a loop. Be friendly. Is this some Jedi mind trick? Why be nice to someone acting so superior?
It does seem counterintuitive, but here's the thing. They usually expect a fight. They're ready for pushback.
Yeah.
So when you're kind, it throws them off their game completely.
So you're like breaking the arrogance circuit with some genuine warmth? Has that worked for you?
More than you'd think. And it's not about being fake, it's about being calm and composed, which actually brings us to our next strategy, diplomacy.
Hold on, diplomacy. When I picture someone being arrogant, diplomat isn't the first thing that comes to mind.
And that's why it works. Sticking to facts, not getting emotional, no drama.
So basically, you're rising above by staying cool.
Exactly. They try to get you riled up. It doesn't work. You hold your own power.
And that's the whole point of outsmarting them, right? It's not like some competition with a winner and loser. It's about you feeling good, keeping your integrity.
Exactly. And that's where things get really interesting, because now we're talking about being proactive, not just reacting.
All right, I'm hooked. What other tricks does this post have? So now we're getting strategic. No more Mr. Nice Guy, huh?
Well, not exactly. It's more like we're playing chess, not checkers. Izhar talks about this idea of picking your battles.
Right, because sometimes calling them out just makes things worse,
Totally. The post even says it can backfire. Like, you become the problem, always harping on them.
So how do you know when to say something and when to just let it slide?
$1,000,000 question, right? It takes practice, but try tuning into your gut. If it's someone generally, okay, just having an off day, maybe a little nudge is fine.
But if it's constant, then you got to be smarter.
Exactly. And that's where information control comes in. Be careful what you share with these types.
Ah, they might use it against you.
Oh, yeah. Twist your words, gossip, even try to sabotage you. Not always, but better safe than sorry.
Okay, starting to feel a little sneaky, but I get it. Can't trust everyone with all the details. So how do we do this? Become like a vault?
No, not that extreme. It's about being choosy. Got a coworker who steals credit for ideas? Maybe keep that new project under wraps until it's more solid.
Loose lips sink ships, as they say.
Exactly. Or, as Izhar puts it, appear weak when you are strong. Even quotes The Art of War here, which I thought was fitting.
Love that. Add some strategy. Speaking of, next up is subtle redirection. That sounds interesting.
Right. It's about taking control without a showdown. Think of it like you're steering the conversation away from their ego trip.
Got an example?
Say you're in a meeting and this person's on a roll bragging about everything they did. You could say, those are great points. Now, I'd love to hear what others think about. Topic change.
Oh, smooth. You acknowledge them, but don't let them take over. Like a conversational ninja.
Exactly. And the best part is you're doing it with grace, which brings us to the next level, setting boundaries.
Because sometimes subtle isn't enough. Got to lay down the law a little.
Exactly. It's about respect, but also being firm. This is what I will and will not tolerate.
So it's less about attacking them, more about protecting yourself.
100%. Now, setting boundaries is one thing. But what if they keep pushing? That's where documentation comes in.
Documentation. Okay, getting serious now. Tell me more.
Picture this. Coworker always takes your ideas. You've been subtle, set boundaries, nothing. That's when you start keeping track.
Like receipts, right? Proof.
Exactly. Dates, times, who was there, anything that backs you up if things get messy.
Smart, especially at work. But what about when you've tried everything and this person is just hopeless?
That's where it gets real. Ishar talks about knowing when to walk away.
I can see that being tough, like if it's a coworker or someone you can't just avoid.
It is hard, but sometimes it's the best thing for you, for your own well-being.
Because you can't control them.
Right.
Only how you react. And sometimes walking away is the strongest reaction.
100%. And that leads us to some of the most powerful strategies in this post, all about taking the high road.
Oh, I like where this is going. Lay it on me. Taking the high road. Sounds so, I don't know, noble.
Right. But it's easier said than done.
Especially when you're dealing with someone who's all me, me, me.
Oh, absolutely. But Ishar breaks it down in a way that makes it feel doable. He starts with leading by example.
Okay, I can get behind that. Actions speak louder, right?
Always. So you want to see humility, be humble, want to see respect, give respect. It's like their bad behavior just highlights how much better you're doing.
Oh, I like that. It's like they're setting themselves up. So what else?
Consistency is huge, too. You got to be that steady rock no matter how much they're swirling around in their little ego storm.
Ooh, I love that image, the eye of the hurricane. So you're saying no matter what they do, you keep doing you. With integrity, I mean.
Exactly. And it's not just about what you do, it's what you believe. You've got your own values, right? Don't let them shake those loose.
Makes sense. If you're not solid yourself, it's easy to get pulled into their game.
100%. Which leads us to, and this one's tough but powerful, rising above the fray.
Okay, now how do you do that when someone's trying to drag you down to their level?
Remember that Viktor Frankl quote we talked about?
Yeah.
The last of human freedoms is to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
So no matter how someone's acting, you get to choose how you show up. You're not just reacting anymore. You're deciding.
And sometimes the best decision is to just walk away, huh?
Sometimes. But Ishar takes this rising above even further. He brings up empathy.
Empathy. For the person who's acting all high and mighty, okay, tough one to swallow.
I know, right? To hear him out. It's not about saying their behavior is okay. It's about asking, what if there's a reason they're like this? What if under all that arrogance, there's pain?
So maybe that person who always has to be right is actually super insecure deep down.
Exactly. And when you can see that, even a little, it changes things. It doesn't make it right, but you understand better.
Like that saying, hurt people hurt people. So how do we use this empathy thing practically? I'm not going to lie, it feels weird to be kind to someone who's being a jerk.
Right. Well, Ishar says, focus on accountability, not blame. Instead of telling them they're arrogant, ask questions that help them see how they're coming across.
So not you're being impossible, but more like, have you thought about how this sounds?
Exactly. They're more likely to listen if they don't feel attacked.
That's really clever. It's like you're holding up a mirror instead of starting a fight.
Right. You're not responsible for their behavior, but you can control how you respond.
Which I think is a great takeaway from this whole thing. We can't control other people, but we can control ourselves.
100%.
And you know what? Sometimes the best way to deal with arrogance is just to be authentically you. You don't need their approval, you know?
Yes. And being genuine like that, that takes guts. It's like Brené Brown says, vulnerability isn't weakness, it's where our strength comes from.
It's true. In a world obsessed with seeming perfect, just being real is a superpower. You're not putting on a show, you're just you, flaws and all.
And that right there, that's the opposite of arrogance. That's what throws them off. You're comfortable with yourself, and they're busy trying to prove something.
I love that. Well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one thing you want our listeners to walk away with?
That dealing with these personalities, it's not about winning or losing. It's about keeping your cool and remembering you have the power to choose how you respond.
So to our amazing listeners, next time you're dealing with someone who thinks they're top dog, remember all this. Confidence, strategy, even a little empathy.
Yeah.
Because you've got this. You're not going to let their arrogance steal your joy. Until next time, stay curious and stay awesome.